What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Jason Harmson with Steel Obsession Guide Service and Addictive Fishing, and today we're going to teach you everything you need to know about bead fishing for salmon. That's coming up right now.
Fish, got him, got him. He's got him.
So here, guys, we're just going to start out with the rod. The rod that I'm using right now is an Okuma SST 10.6 10-20, so that is the 1062M in the casting model. And I prefer the casting models for float fishing. You can use the spinning rods, they'll both work just fine. But I like the bait casters. It's just a little bit easier line management, and everything is right here in your hand. There's no extra hand movement. But like I said, the spinning rod will work just fine, just the same. So basically, if you're looking for a Chinook bobber rod, anything in that 9-foot to 10-foot 6, and even longer rods sometimes, just kind of depending on the size of water you're fishing, go to the store, check those models out, and you kind of want that 10 to 20. You can go 8 to 17, but that 10 to 20, or even heavier, 15 to 30, 12 to 25, something in that range and that length and in that action. So next we'll move on to the reel, and I have the Okuma Komodo SS 274, and this is a really comparable reel to some of the other kind of similar bait casters on the market. I've been really impressed with the performance of this reel. I've been using them for just over a year now, and I haven't had any issues. And the one really nice thing that I really like about this reel is the drag. The drag is super smooth. Sometimes you'll buy bait casters and sometimes the drag will be like, it'll be sticky. It won't come out like super buttery smooth, and with these, right out of the box are buttery smooth. And I've really just been impressed by the Komodo. So if you're at the store and you're looking for a bait caster reel, just look for something that's gonna fit on the rod comfortably anywhere, and it's usually gonna be in that 200 to 300 size. When you get up to the 4000 or 400 series, they just get a little big and they get heavy, especially if you're float fishing all day. Like the 200 series is usually plenty of reel. Most of the time when you wanna bump up to that 300 or 30 series reel, you're fishing a lot bigger rivers, a lot bigger water, or just bigger fish, so you just want more drag. And from the rivers that I fish, the 200 series reels do just fine. Moving on to the line here, guys, any of the high vis braids out there, this is that lime green. It's actually a new line that we are probably gonna be coming out with here soon, and I've been really impressed by it. But I'm running the 50 pound. You can go 65, you can run 40. I just prefer the 50 because you get a little bit more line on there and you get the same flotation, I feel like, as the 65. So like I said, any high vis braid. And then moving on down the line, and it kind of depends. A lot of people don't use a bumper or a top shot for their bobber setups, but I like to, just because it kind of just gives you that little bit of extra stealth. So basically what I'm talking about when I say a bumper, guys, is it's just a piece of line. It's a piece of monofilament or fluorocarbon, whichever you may choose. It's just a piece of line that you tie in line with your braid. And it just slides through the bobber a lot nicer. It seems like your bobber stops stick a little bit more. They don't tend to slide as much. And it's just a little bit more stealth. Something just to make yourself a little bit more stealthy. And moving down from there, I've got my 2 little rubber bead stops. Always use 2, guys, because if one fails, you always have another one. And then from there, I have a little 4mm bead to a high vis corky, and then to my 1.25 ounce clear bobber. And you can go anywhere from 3/4. Sometimes people use 1/2 ounces, but I like using that heavier lead because sometimes you don't know how deep of a spot that you're gonna be fishing. And that 1 ounce will shoot through a lot of current a lot faster and stick a lot more than a 1/2 ounce lead or even a 3/4 ounce lead. That 1 ounce just seems to kind of be my happy medium. The main reason I put this corky on here, guys, is if your bobber ends up and it's landed and it's all twisted up, that corky's gonna sit like sideways like that. It's not gonna sit like straight up and down like that. Perfectly in line, resting on the top of your bobber is what you wanna see. If it doesn't look like that, it's better just to reel it in, straighten it up, untangle it, and then get back out there. Then on the bottom of the bobber, what I like to use is this, it's a Bomac product. I'm not sure what they call these, but it's basically just like a rubber stop. And then I usually put like another 4 or 3mm bead that always ends up kind of sticking in the bottom of that thing. And it just gives the bottom of your bobber some sort of separator between that and your knot. It just protects your knot, and it also protects the bottom of your bobber. And then I have a 1 ounce inline weight down to my secondary. I call this a leader bumper. And this is anywhere from 2 feet to 3.5. Then down here, I just have a couple little split shots or a little lead, and then another little barrel swivel. That's a size 5 barrel swivel too, guys. I see that question a lot. The size barrel swivel that I use for salmon is a size 5. Like I said, this is about a 17 to a 20 pound bumper leader to the actual business end. And that is anywhere from 12 to 17 pound test. You just want to kind of stagger. You want your lighter line to be on the bottom, so when you snag, you only break off that bottom portion of your float setup. So the only reason I'm really fishing like a heavier bumper leader compared to my actual business end leader is so when I snag and I break off, usually what breaks off is this little 18-inch section. And it's just as easy to grab another bead out off the leaderboard and snap it back on or tie it back on, however you do it. And that's just the main reason why I run it this way. And then we're down to the business end. And this is one of our new fall drop beads. This is the Cloudy Peach in a 14 millimeter size. And you can see what I do here is I run the bigger T-stops. And the only reason for that is, one, they hold a little bit better on the line, I've noticed, rather than the large, because this is the extra large size. So I like to run the extra large because it tends not to slide, it tends to stick on the line a little bit better, and it just kind of cups that bead a little bit more and just holds it more secure in place. And then down here, what I have is I have about a 3-finger gap between my bead. And then for salmon, you know, I like to size up my hook just slightly, and that's a size 1 advantage addicted bead hook. So like if you were steelhead fishing and you were steelhead fishing a size 14 millimeter bead, I would usually size down to like a size 2 or maybe even a size 3 bead hook. But for salmon, they have a little bit harder jaw. They have, you know, bigger mouths. So I like to size up that hook. So another thing that we'll do here, guys, is almost on every single bead leader that you see any of us tie, it's always either an egg loop or a snell knot. And the reasoning for that is because the way it gets pulled through, like when a fish actually bites it and it comes through, it pulls and it cinches and it pulls the eye of the hook actually like into the jaw of the fish. That way you get as much of a bite as possible on that hook. Now we're kind of going to go through the type of water that you want to target for bead fishing for salmon. And basically, guys, you're just going to literally act like you're steelhead fishing. It's going to be the same exact water, the same exact depths. Everything is pretty much the same, except for a steelhead sitting in the water, it's going to be a salmon. So if you look over here, we have a nice little riffle right here. It's probably about 3 to 5, maybe 6 feet deep over on that edge, and you can see right where the fish should be laying. When the river is this low at the level it's at, a lot of these fish are going to be sitting in those kind of more steelhead chop looking spots. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually fish this for you guys right here, is I'm going to cast, you know, if I'm standing at the river and facing directly across, I'm going to cast up into the run, and then I'm going to try and keep that line up off the water, trying to obstruct that float the least amount as possible. And I mean, if you guys have bead fished for steelhead at all, you guys will have no problem picking up bead fishing for salmon, because it's quite literally the same exact thing. Another thing that you want to do, especially when the water is low, and like this run isn't super small, like these fish could be sitting on the inside of this riffle, they could be right in the riffle, they could be on the other side of the riffle. So the way to break a hole down is always cast closer to you first, because if you snag up on that far cast, the first thing, if there's a fish sitting on that inside line, when you pull your bobber tight and you try and rip your setup out of that snag, most of the time it's just gonna spook that fish that was sitting on the inside. So it's always good to cast close, middle, far, and then take a few steps down and just keep doing the same thing. Because sometimes these fish will bite as that bead or that bait drops right in front of their face. You know, they want to see it just drop right in front of their face and they just attack it. Like I said, close, middle, far, take a few steps down. It's kind of just like spinner fishing or spoon fishing or any type of lure fishing, twitch fishing. Basically, however you're fishing, always start close, work your way to the middle and end with the far. So another thing, guys, is with this kind of a longer extended leader setup, it's not like a snappy cast. It's more of just like a long loop. You kind of want to just draw a big rainbow with it. You don't necessarily want to shoot your bobber straight up in the sky and make a big rainbow cast that way, but just imagine that leader starting back here and ending away from you, because the bobber is closer to you, right? If that bait or bead lands further away than your bobber does, it's that complete rainbow motion. I call it a big rainbow cast, and it's just a nice, easy flip of a cast. You can see how that bead landed on the other side of my bobber. Just remember, longer leaders, longer, loopier casts. So what I mean when I say it's not like a snappy cast or a whippy cast, right at the end, a lot of times what I see is a lot of guys will like go to cast and then right at the end they'll whip the rod tip, and you don't want to do that with this setup. It'll just tangle and it'll be a nightmare, and you won't be fishing, you'll be untangling. So now, guys, we're gonna get down to the business end and actually talk about colors and sizes and more hook sizes. So basically you can see here that I have quite a bit of an array of colors, a lot of pinks, a lot of oranges, a lot of reds. For the most part, I mean, a lot of times you can kind of get away with the same kind of colors, but just different hues of the color, if that makes sense. So here you can see we have a lot of our addicted beads. So we have our nail polish, our pink haze, our red haze, and then we actually have a couple of Clint beads in there, a little skook and bait action. But you can see they're all pretty similar, but just different shades. And a lot of times what I say is, the darker the water, the darker the bead. It just and the reasoning behind that is it draws more light. It's kind of like our twitch jigs. You know, you use a brighter colored when it's brighter outside and a darker color when it's darker outside. And basically the darker colors when it's darker outside, it draws more light. You see here, guys, with how many different colors I have, you got to think all of these fish, they're the same species, but they're all different. It's just like humans. We're all the same species, but we all like different things. So you never know if a fish is gonna like an orange bead, or an orange and white bead, or just a white bead, or just an orange bead, or even a purple bead. You never know. That's why it's just always good to have a different array of colors and just have it all. Because it sucks when you're caught out on the river and somebody else is catching them on something that you don't have. So buy a lot of beads. That's my only suggestion. Okay, so here, guys, you can kind of see that all the different sizes. Basically, I have all my 12 mils, all my 14 mils, and then I have some 14s, some 16s, and then all my 20 mils. And honestly, for salmon, I figure the size of bead isn't quite as important as the color or the shade of the bead. But like I said earlier, it's nice to have a lot of different colors, because you never know what they're gonna want that day. And I mean, a good classic default is red, orange, and pink. If you have 3 different bead colors and that's all you can bring those 3. And a lot of times they're gonna tell you what they want, and it's gonna be one of those 3. So, and another thing too is like the size of the bead isn't quite as important as the color or the shade. But if I had one size bead to fish for salmon, it would probably be a 16 millimeter bead, because a lot of times you can get away with fishing super ultra low clear water with them, and you can get away with fishing some more murky, dirtier water with them. They just have that right size, right profile, as compared to a 12 mil. You're not going to be able to see quite as good and dirty, murkier water. And then a 20 mil in super low clear water it could be too much. And that 16 mil is kind of that perfect you know, middle of the road size. A good starting point is, okay, what are your conditions? Are your conditions low? Are your conditions medium water, high water? And let's say it's low and super clear. I know I can get away with a little bit smaller bead, so I'm gonna start with something a little bit smaller than what I normally would, which, like I said, I'd pick a 16 mil as a good middle of the road. So I'm gonna start with a 12 mil. And it's good because it's very subtle and it's not gonna spook a fish. I mean, you can get away with fishing these 12 mil beads in dirty water. Don't get me wrong, I've caught plenty of fish in dirty water with 12 millimeter size beads. But if you have that bigger size and you know that they're gonna see it a lot better, step up to a 14, 16, even a 20 mil. 20 mils pay the bills, that's my saying. I will live by that until the day I die, because I've caught a lot of fish on 20 mil beads in high dirty water, even in low clear water. Like I said, it's just good to have an array of sizes, an array of colors, because you never know what they're gonna want. This is like a perfect leaderboard because it has all three sizes. It has your 14 mils, it has your 16 mils, and then it has your 20 mils. So you can really see the difference in sizes. And like I said earlier, all of these are tied on 15-pound fluorocarbon with an extra large T-stop and a size 1 advantage addicted bead hook. And the only reason, like I said earlier, why I switched to that size 1 is salmon have a little bit bigger mouths, a little bit stronger mouths, and the size of hook for those three sizes of beads is not do or die. It's not gonna compromise the action of the bead to where those salmon aren't gonna bite. So another thing, guys, is the reason why I would fish a bead over bait is, 1, I don't have any bait, or 2, the water's super low and clear and they want a perfect presentation, or 3, it's a super pressured fishery. You'd be surprised what beads can do behind a lot of bait. And sometimes I'll even fish a bait and a bead at the same time. It can pay dividends to fish both or fish one or the other. It's just nice to have both bait and beads. But like I said, if you don't have bait, beads are a great alternative for float fishing. They work in basically all water conditions. As long as you have the right water for it, you're gonna be in the money. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for gear and type of water that we're gonna be looking for bead fishing for salmon. Now let's head to the boat, go downriver, and see if we can show you guys a couple different scenarios on how to implicate beads for salmon. So you can see here, guys, we kind of have the same scenarios up there, maybe not as boily, but you can look over there and you can definitely tell that there's a little bit of a trench on that far side, and there's choppy, kind of what we would call steelhead chop. So we're gonna pull over here, drop the anchor, and fish a bead. We're gonna show you guys kind of how to approach a spot and dissect it and see if there's a salmon in there. So basically here, guys, I know for a fact that the trench over there isn't super wide, so I'm kind of gonna fish just a couple of different lines. I'm gonna fish one that's a little bit further off of the trench and then one directly in the middle of the trench. And kind of the theory behind that is our water, we have insane water clarity right now. So if a fish is within 5 to 10 feet of this thing and it wants to eat it, it's gonna eat it. It's gonna travel, it's gonna make its move, and it's gonna chomp down on it. So basically what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna flip this leader back behind me. I'm gonna let that thing rest. See how it's all like kind of flipping and flopping? Just let that thing settle. Then you're gonna rip your cast over there. And like I said earlier, you wanna kind of start your cast up above where you think the fish are gonna be. That way it gives your setup time to get down in the water column. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna say that was bottom. And another advantage to fishing a bead, guys, my bobber just went down, I ripped a hook set, and look, my bead's still there, still perfect. I don't have to rebait. It's a beautiful thing. So let's rip another one. See, and I shallowed up a little bit, my bobber didn't go down, so what that tells me is that, oh God! Oh my goodness, dude. Oh. It's just grabbing it just right. I feel
it looked fishy.
I feel like faster than river speed too.
Looked
like a lot of
fish.
times you can tell when your bobber goes down, if it goes down about the same pace as the river, most of the time it's just grabbing bottom. But if it like shoots down, it's more than likely a fish. That could be a fish laying there.
Fishy, dude. That sure looked kind of fishy. Why didn't it go under that time, Jason?
I don't know, dude.
Fish. Got him. Got him. Got him. He's got him. Fish on. What is it? A sucker.
It's either a sucker or a jack. I think it's a sucker. It's a sucker. But we know we were down there in the right zone.
And he ate it. Look
He
at.
freaking ate it. Oh yeah.
Oh, that
Looks
yeah,
like this one's been caught before too.
He's a bead eater. Not our target species, guys.
Definitely not the target species, but hey, bobber down, baby.
Sean said that looks like Clint.
He bit it good. All right, we're gonna send this guy on his way. Right there, bye-bye. I'm gonna give it another one in there. See if we can catch the old target species, a salmon. I don't know. Hard telling, not knowing. All right, on to the next. Let's go try and find another. Hopefully the target species. All right, guys. Well, as you can see, we have approached our next, what I would say is called a bead spot. You got your kind of defined trench over on that far side, that heavier chop for cover. You know, it's just that ideal bead looking water, which can be anywhere from 2 feet to 6 feet of water with surface chop and kind of even flow through the whole thing. So we're gonna toss out there and see what we can find. Dang, it's not looking like anybody's home. All right, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for our bead fishing for salmon tutorial. Let us know in the comments what other tutorials you guys want to see in the future. And until next time, see you out there. Cheers. All right, guys, one more little bonus tip for you. Another thing with these beads is you can add scent to them. So what I like to do is, you don't want to add a ton, but just one extra little drop, just like that. That's all you need. Because a lot of times if you put more than about that much scent on there, it'll get inside that T-stop and it'll make that T-stop slide like crazy. So you don't want to absolutely douse it with scent. Just one little drop of scent, that's all you need. And that's your extra little bonus tech tip for the day. If you want to get out here and do this type of fishing with me, I have dates available. Head over to my website, steelobsession.com, fill out a book a trip form, and we'll get you on the river.